Okay, so in this video, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to use Selenium Java to create a test case for SAP Fiori. Let's let me load up the Fiori app that I'm going to be interacting with. So this is the SAP Fiori app I'm going to be interacting with in the tiles. Um, Thought this would be a good challenge. Haven't seen too many videos using Selenium Java automating SAP Fiori, so I thought I'd give it a go. Um, what I'm going to be doing is, let's go back into Selenium Java. So I'm going to be doing a supplier invoice. So I'm going to be creating a supplier invoice test here. So there's my test there, and I used basic framework building, basic framework standards, and so I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but you'll see there's a lot of familiarity with what I've used with other frameworks. If you go onto YouTube and you Google it, but search it on YouTube, you'll find other videos with very similar type Selenium Java framework. And so I've used the same concepts using the four pillars of object oriented design, abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. And yeah, so I created the basic framework. The idea behind the standardized framework is, of course, to reduce your maintenance, increase the speed that your test cases can be put together. As you build out more and more tests over time, you'll understand the application you're running those tests for. Here, for instance, and all these different tile applications, like for instance, under accounts receivable, there's 7 or 8 tiles into there. So depending on what the requirements are for the test case, but you can see that as you keep on building up more tests, you're going to capture more methods and more reusable methods in your framework, um, and that will help overall increase your development time for test cases. Um, so under here, I got my basic packages. I have my own package here called AUT Actions, Application Under Test Actions. So that's just where I capture a lot of my basic interactions with the web element. Clicking on a web element, setting text, capturing text, selecting a drop down box. So I have all that captured in my AUT actions. I'm not going to go again too much detail in it, but as I step through the application, you'll see me probably pop into this every once in a while. And same with AUT business flows, application and test business flows. So this is captures the basic flows that could be reused over and over again of your application. Login is a basic flow that's going to be reused over and over again. So you can create a basic login reusable method there. Signing out is another basic flow. Let me just go into my test here. So I have my, where is it here? Yeah, login SAP. So if I just click on that and I'll go into it. So I come into my AUT business flows and it takes me to the method that I use for logging into SAP. Okay, so I realized I didn't really explain the steps in the login SAP method here, the reusable method here. So I wanted to put in a quick explanation in what I did in here. So when the login happens, what you can see here is I use the method to get decoder.decode for the password. I just put that in for, it's good to have maybe a little extra layer of security. You can see here I get the password from the properties file back into here. And so, but I don't have to use the actual password name. I can use the decoded one. And I use let me just find it here. The base64 encoder web page here. And say, just type in password and hit encode, and that'll give you a encoded variety of letters, numbers, what have you. And then I put that in my in my password, and then when I grab that to use in the SAP login method, um, I grab that in the login properties. Whoops, let me go back into the login SAP. So I grab it from the properties file, and then I let the base.64 decoder method decode it for me. So it just helps hide the password a little bit more. You can see here during one of the runs, you can see there's where I type the text, and I don't actually use the password I use. I just type in password. So it just hides a little bit more. And of course, I do the sign in button, and you see here that wait search apps field. So that's for the. Oops, let me load it up here. Let's see if I can have it activate again. Okay, I'll just do a quick sign in. Okay. You see up here, this search in apps field was loading as well too, and then this welcome screen, welcome wizard pops up. So I take care of those in the login SAP reusable method. So what I do is in here, I wait for the search apps field text box to show up. So I believe I use the explicit wait. And then I just use the web element object in there, and then I wait for that to open up to be visible on the screen right here, right there, and that just helps the test case be dynamic and not rely on the actual using sleep, the thread sleep for 6,000 5,000 seconds. It's good to reduce those in your test case as much as possible, make it a little bit more dynamic, and then. Once that appears, oops, got to go back into it. Login SAP method. So once that's found, then here you can see I do have a thread.sleep in here, which I can remove. I can comment that out and I can comment. I put these in for debugging method during the creation of the test case, of course, but they can probably be commented out now. So in here, and then I look for the startup wizard in here. And oops, let me just dive into it. There we go. And then, so what I do here is I look for the X icon. That is part of that the wizard. And if it's found, true, then I click on it, and there's the XPath for it there. And I click on it, and again, this XPath can probably be put in the properties file. A little bit more easy to access and change if things change. I'll put this in the properties file just to show how I built that out. And let's just maybe put it in here. Yes, and okay. That, and I will call it the X icon. Okay, and then I'll just grab this now. And now I just want to use that with my, just paste that in there right now. I'll just go back into my, so I want to make sure I get the right syntax. There we go. Okay, so I just want to put that in there like so. Make it property method, and then I want to use the, that's fine, and we'll put that in there. And then I have, Okay, so, and then I can take this and let's drop it right here. There we go. Okay, so that's how I can quickly add a new XPath, a new locator to the properties file, and then how to pull it out, how to pull the property out of the properties file. All right, we'll continue on, and then I'll go back into it. Let's click on the wrong file, and then it's finished signing in. So yeah, so that's the reusable method I use for the login SAP. I just wanted to talk a little bit more in depth about that. My utilities package. This is more where I have a lot of my my reporting. I don't have this converted to a test case data driven test, but I'd have that in here as well. I'll probably have a separate package for data driven utilities in here, so that'd be another one I could capture. Maybe that's another video I could do showing how to convert this into a data driven test. What I also will include in here is the properties file, configuration properties file, and this is where I'll have a lot of static variables in here, parameters. You can see here I've got username and password. I have their URL they're going to be accessing up here, and then you can set your implicit, global, implicit, and explicit wait times in here, file download locations, and a variety of stuff. I have a lot of my SAP tables I'm going to be using in my test cases in here. I give them a good, unique, common name so that they're easy to use and find. And if they change, you can easily come in here and change it. And that's good for all web locators and page titles, web page titles. You can put them in here, integration properties file, and then update them, change them in here. I only have a few right now in this, but this can expand very easily. I started off one here as a supplier invoice, which page title I use, but I'll show how I use that in the test case. And of course, my reporting folders are down here. Test output, I have where my auto report gets spit out in here, SAP Fiori, and I'll go into that as well when the test is done. But yeah, that's just your basic Selenium Java framework. Oh, my base class, yes, don't forget the base class. Got my base class in here that I extend, inherit in my test cases. I launch my browser, set up my configuration properties file. I set up the log4j, some logging reporting in here as well. I use the testng annotations, the after method, before method, all that's in here. There's my teardown in here. I do after it's done, I do a basic count of the steps I use in my logging. Those are just global parameters that I set up and that I can use in my logit method. If I jump into that, you see, yeah, right there, fast count. So as I use my logging, I capture the counts. You can see down here where I ran one already. I've done that already. Yeah, so let's go back into the test case. So in the test case here, so let's just run it so you get an idea what it's going to do. I can step through it manually quickly here. Let me go into the procurement. So it's going to go into create supplier invoice. It's going to come in here, and then it's going to enter the basic data right here. It's going to add a line. Let me just put some in. Just grab one there and put in a random reference number. And so once you get your basic data input, then you need to add a GL. And so in the line items here, oops, sorry, I think I clicked on the wrong one. There, this one here. So I'm going to put in a debit credit line item and for a GL account. So debit and then drop in the GL account. Let's just make this 5, and then we'll add a new one, and then I gotta zero that out. We'll make it equal. So put a credit in. Same GL account. 5 in. Okay, let's do a check. There we go. So invoice was checked, successfully checked. So I have a method here where I capture the this toast message that pops up as well. And I post it. And then I capture the supplier invoice number here. And I don't want to create a new one, but now once I'm in the supplier invoice is created, I want to come to the supplier list, and then I'll find the new invoice I just created, and then I'll click on it just to make sure it opens, and then I won't do a log out, but that's pretty much the end of the test case. And so those are the steps that are being captured in here. Let's just run it quickly so we can see it done through automation. I'm using the testng XML file here. There's the test case I'm running. Run as. Oh yeah, sure. Let's just save that. I got something I didn't save. Okay, so I'm not clicking on the tile in this. I'm going to be accessing the URL directly, and I'll show you that method in my test case. Okay, adding the credit. Check. Captured the invoice number. Now I should flip to the supplier list table. There we go. Found it. Awesome. And there's the logging I have right here being displayed in the console. And there's my my steps, total task 17. And if I just do a refresh here, go to test output, and let's go into here and let's get the latest report. And that would be, I should clean this up a little bit. We are in April. There we go. And there we go. There's my pass. I do have a screenshot method set up in here as well too. It's after the invoice was checked successfully. But yeah, so capture this, the steps, capture all the information. That worked well. Okay, so let me just go back into the test case. So to kind of step through this a little bit here. So as I mentioned, I have that reusable method I use for logging into SAP. Here's my reusable method I use for opening the app by URL. And in this case, it was the supplier invoice create. So I just use this method. You can use this method throughout other test cases. And I don't click on the tile. I just use the method, use this method, and I just build my URL. So in here, what I do is I get the current URL, and I use to replace right here, the shell home, and then I use the tile name, and I concatenate that on, and then it will take me to the page title, navigating to the new URL right there. So that's how I use that. It's a good reusable method to use. And then once I'm in there, let's just follow along in here. Let me just load this up. Let me just set this up here. Right here. Okay. So once I load up the new supplier invoice, then this is my basic data. So this is the basic data I'm putting in right here. So you can see by this OBJ, I'm going directly to the page object model, the page objects that I created for this. Let me just dive into there. And so here's one of the page objects, supplier invoice page object. So this I have my web locators in here, and then some of the methods I use to access the web elements and do some actions on the application. And then coming down into here, so yeah, so I'm just doing all type text. You can see here, I'm selecting this from the drop-down box, and then I'm typing some text into here. Typing some text into the invoicing property text box. Let me just dive into that. Come into here, and so you can see now this is going and using going into my AUT actions file. And I'll just click on that, and it'll go to my method that I use for typing text in here. And I have some error handling in there as well. And then, so here, this is an interesting piece that I added. I'm using the keyboard to arrow down. So what I do is, so once I'm in here, and I enter this information in here, let me just grab that. There's some data in there. So once I've done that, then I just use the arrow down like that. It's just to bring the GL tax items or the GL items into view. Click on Add. So right there, the GL on account items into view. So what if I just go into that method here? So you can see here, it's I have a for loop, so I do have the key you want to use, and then how many times you want to use it right there. So in this case, it was the arrow down, which I have right here, and then I send those keys, arrow down keys, and there's my loop I set up to do that. So that's just pretty simple and straightforward for that. So now this is where I get into using the adding a GL account line item in here. Just dive into it. So in here, this is a nice reusable method I added in here, and I have my web locators in here. I can probably put these in the configurations properties file in here. I have them accessed in one spot, but I just got them in. I got them in my method right now. It's good always to try to have it reusable and easy to maintain in one spot. Yeah, so in here, this is where I get the credit type, the credit debit type, and you can see in here my locator in the list item. I select it, and also do it on the index as well too, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So as more line items are added, so this is 0, and then you get 1, 2, 3. So I'll know what line item I'm interacting with. So in the method I'm using, you can see here that's the last one. So in this case, I'm only adding 2, a credit and a debit. So there's my index. I'm accessing the line 1 in Visual speak, but in I guess Java speak, it's actually 0. And same with here. Then I access the second row item, which is number 1, according to Selenium Java. Let me just go back into it here. So it's 0 and then 1. So those are the indexes, and that's how I interact with the line items. I have my data I pass in, and then I have the index value of the row I'm going to be entering the data in it. Method. So that's what I do here. So you can see there's my index there. There's my GL account number, item number that I'm using the send keys for that. So it's a nice reusable method I can use for that. There's my clicking the add button in there. And then there's my check right there. So that's this down here. I'm clicking on that. Let me just get rid of this. Get rid of this. Let's just drop in a couple items here. So move along with this. There we go. Okay, and let's just click on the check button. Oops. I've added something. That's too many. Oh, I see what I did. My bad. Okay, let me just get that back in there. Okay, let's see, check it in. There we go. So this here is what I'm capturing as well too. So the way I do that is, so once the check button is clicked, this is where I get the toast message, and I put the toast message locator in my properties file. So this is how I get the property file information right here. So if I go into the property file and then look for, there's the message toast there, and there's the locator I use right there. So in my method here, I do a wait. I do explicit wait based on the web locator, and that helps wait for the message to pop up, because it only pops up for a few seconds and then it fades away. And then once I successfully wait for it, and then I get the message using the get text find element, and then I just do a check here if the correct message popped up, and that's where I go back into the logit method in there, and I do my pass or fail in here. And then after that, I do a screen cap. That's my screen capture there. That's my parameter indicating I'm going to do a screen cap. It's in my logit. So if I go into here, I go to my screen cap right there, and so this is where I do a screen capture. Very quick, very easy, and what it does is allows you to do some verification screen captures as you go throughout your test cases. And then I click the post button, and then once the post button is clicked, then that's where I capture the, I'll just click post here. There we go, and there's the invoice number I want. So I want to capture that, and then I return it. So let's just go into it. So it's in the page object model. Oops, let me just get in there. There we go. So once I'm in here, I get the text off of it, and I get the full text right here. You can see I have some things commented out. I was splitting it up at one time, but I got the full line, the full text right here. I got this whole text here, and then I return it. And then once I return it, then I can in here, and then I can use it to find this invoice number in the supplier list. And that's when I go into oh yeah, sorry, I also close the, I just say no, and then it takes me back to the dashboard with all the tiles. And then that's when I open the app again by URL, and this is why I use the supplier list, the supplier invoice list. That's when I open the tile through the URL, which I showed you earlier. And then in the table, so I get the table. Let's just go back into here and let's go into the table. So now I can interact with this table. And what I did was, you can see here, again, I have the I have the table locator in the property file. So going here, I'm getting the invoice list table. So I come into here, and there's the invoice list table right there, and there it is there. So if I even just take that whole thing, and you know, table is part with T-body. That's a good indication. You're dealing with a table. So even if I go in here and go to inspect, and then let's bring up the Control F. Let's do the XPath builder here. Control V, and then you can see it takes me right to it. Well, it highlights it. So that's a good way of understanding that you're at the right table. And then you want to start using it, interacting with it. Of course, you can put in your TR. Say in this case it's 3, I believe it is. There, see, it takes me to row 3, and then I want to go to say D column 3. There we go. And so that's the invoice number. So that's what I'm looking for there. So again, those are values I'm going to be passing in to my method. So if I go into, there it is, search item, the item, item table. So you can see there's some of the parameters I got. So I got I'm getting the invoice list table locator. Here's the invoice number I got earlier up in here. And then this is the column name. There's the column index, which is 3. And then what I'm doing is I'm clicking on it. Once I found it, I'll click on it. So if I go, let me just go into the method, see the guts of it. So I'm doing a loop in here. So I'm getting the total number of rows, and then I'm looking for the invoice number. So that's what I'm doing right here. So you can see here there's a column index I'm looking under. Here's the I row, which is the I row is taken from the for loop, and then I get the text. And so, and as it loops, it waits till it finds it, and then once it's found, it'll log it and break out of here. Since I'm doing a click, you can see right here, I'll have a check here. If my table action is click, then it's going to click on that column in the row where I found the invoice number. So that's how I interact with this table right here when I'm looking for the invoice number. If it all else fails, then I log it that it couldn't find any information, couldn't find the invoice number in there. That's just pays with time. I probably don't need that in there anymore. And then in here, so here again, I'm waiting based on WebLocator. This could be put in the properties file. I'll leave it to have a little bit more explanatory, a little bit more descriptive title. And then just like I'm opening the, so what it's waiting for is when I click on this, it's going to wait for the, oops, let me close this down. There we go. This label to show up. Let's go back into here, and I do a verification on the page title. Just this can be easily put into reusable modules as well too, to have it reused over and over. And then this is where I get my invoice label here. And then I capture the label, and then I just verify that it's the correct supplier invoice number that popped up. And yeah, that's it. That's it for the test case. You can see I have others in here that I've done as well too. I interact with other list items in here. But I'll leave it on this one for now. But yeah, I thought it's a good challenge to go through and create a test case on SAP Fiori and how Selenium Java can interact with the web elements, and that it can automate some test cases. All right, I will stop there. Thanks for watching.